Any moment
3,
now.
2. We're live now. I see it now.
Hello!
Hello, everybody.
Out there in the YouTube verse. Um, it's me, the unapologetic geek, and my guests, Thrash, Scott, and Lance, of course. Um, today I've decided we should talk about buddy cop movies because I just dropped that video last week on Alien Nation, which is actually doing gangbusters. It's really popular, so that's good. I'm happy about that. But it got me thinking about all those classic, mostly '80s buddy cop movies that I grew up on. I mean, we're not gonna just stick to '80s. We can definitely go a lot further back or even more recent. It's fine by me. But those are just the ones I grew up with, and I felt like we should talk about it. So that's why we're here. But before we get started, let me just say hi to everybody who's here. We've got Daryl.
Daryl.
Hello. He was
Brother,
here at
brother.
11:15, so he was early.
Wow.
um, let's see. Keith E is probably not going to comment much, but he's listening. So hello, Keith.
Shout
Always
out,
good to
Keith.
have you. Apparently Scott's here. That's interesting.
Hey, Scott.
The duality.
Yes. Tom is here instead of
Hi,
watching
hungry.
football, so thank you.
Oh, I feel you, Tom.
Tommy.
Danny Staten is here from South Carolina. Greetings.
Hey.
Dan.
Let's see who else we got. I know we got more people than that. Oh, Indy's here.
Hi, Andy.
Okay, if I forgot anybody, just let me know, and more people will pop in. Like Sean Ennis just showed up.
John.
Hello, Sean.
Sean.
And okay, yeah, Indy makes a good point. We do need some ground rules on what does it mean to be a buddy cop movie, and I thought about this a lot. Does it have to be? Well, first of all, it can be more than two. You don't have to have just two for a buddy cop movie. Like the classic example that comes to my head is Beverly Hills Cop. There's three of them. But we can talk about that one later. I just was bringing it up as an example. And do they all have to be cops? I'm gonna say no because I have a few examples where it's only one of them's a cop, and I've even got one where he's not really a cop; he's kind of a cop. We'll talk about it. So I mean, other than that, as long as you've got at least two cops, they don't even necessarily both have to be human, obviously, because I just talking about alienation. I don't know. Are there any other rules we should have other than that?
Generally speaking, the two cops, as it were, have to be of different um, schools of thought.
Well,
They
yeah,
usually
they have to be
found-
differing in some way. There has to be some kind of butting heads. Yeah.
So there's a conflict between the two of them. And usually there's some kind of stakes involved. One of them is on a quest for revenge, or is at least personally enfranchised in whatever the theme of the specific movie is. And usually one of them, spoiler alert, if it's not killed outright, usually has a very, very close death experience.
Yes.
Causing
That's very
one to
common.
actually, yeah, someone has to spike out of his own, and there's usually some kind of love interest, a a nasty divorce or separation, which is a subplot. The main character, one of the two mains, is trying to reconcile with this love interest. Um, those are my little bullet points or addendums.
I just also wanted to say hi to Waj.
Hi,
Wajameen
Waj.
is here.
What you mean?
And also Wim van der Straeten. I hope I pronounced that right. It's been a long time since I took high school German.
Good one right there.
I was a
Right scared.
But yeah, Running Scared, that's a classic. I would have
Oh,
gotten you
yeah.
one of those French things, but I didn't want to sound like an idiot. Yeah. I love that movie. So, does anybody else have any other ground rules they think we should talk about? What about you, Scott?
Like, there's. I'll bring up like some, and we can always say I'm not sure about this because there's a couple of like that I'm thinking.
Yeah, I got a
of
couple
that-
like that too. So we
yeah,
can talk about it
where we can kind of and it just like we can say like, what do you think about this? Does that fall into it? And I think it's fair to be able to have that discussion of it, right? Of like, does this count? Does this not? Things like that, right?
I'm gonna say right
And so-
now, Turner and Hooch absolutely counts.
Damn you!
And
God
K9.
have mercy on your soul.
Yeah.
Why'd you mean beat me to the punch? Yeah, he was already talking about it.
Yeah.
Good old Uncle Joe is here.
Uncle Joe.
Hurrah.
Angry Santa.
Okay, so I do have a little list. So I'm just gonna go ahead and name the first one that always pops to mind when I think buddy cop movie. It's like, to me, the quintessential buddy cop movie, and that's Lethal Weapon. Maybe just because I grew up on it, but it's so much the classic buddy cop movie from the 80s where you've got, the one loose cannon who's kind of suicidal and crazy, and he's Mel Gibson, of course, because Mel Gibson. And then you got the other, like the family man, the by the book, rules following Danny Glover, who's too old for this stuff.
About to retire.
Yeah, and he's about to retire, of course, for 4 movies. He's about to retire.
Right. The longest retirement ever.
And you've got one of the best bad guy henchmen in Gary Busey.
You want to show up the title?
So, I mean, Gary Busey and Mel Gibson having a full-on fight in the climax outside of a house with the Christmas tree like leaning out of a big hole in the wall. It's classic stuff, man. Yeah, in the rain, of course. Yeah.
And it does, it kind of, like you say, expand into just even more than just the two when Joe Pesci starts to get involved.
Of course, then you get Joe
right?
Pesci and Rene Russo, and it starts to expand as it goes.
Right.
Chris Rock.
And Chris Rock in the fourth one. Yeah.
And Jet Li.
Jet Li is the bad guy in the fourth. Is pretty fun. Yeah.
The fight between him and Murtaugh Riggs is like, wow.
I want to talk about it because I want to talk about like what makes Lethal Weapon such a great buddy cop movie. I mean, it leans into the old tropes that started with things like In the Heat of the Night, where you've got one black cop, one white cop, and they have to deal with their own socio-political view of the world. That's very, very common. But also, like, it has a lot of issues with mental health because instead of just being a crazy loose cannon, they really like delve deep into why Mel Gibson is the way he is, or at least his character is the way he is. We don't want to know how Mel Gibson is the way he is. And I kind of really appreciate that the movie has all those layers to it, even though it's still a kick-ass action movie in the end, first and foremost. But underneath it all, I think there's a lot of depth. That since I grew up on it and I've seen it like a bajillion times, I feel like I've been able to read into it more than is probably there. But I just love it. And I think that it works so well and resonates so well is because there's a lot there to chew on. Am I crazy or am I right?
100%
Spot on.
agree.
Okay.
So for me, one of the things that I appreciate about it, especially because again I work in mental health, and is that when you work in one of those like service sectors, right? And that's whether it's like healthcare, it's like the social service sector, right? So healthcare, you've got police and security, fire and rescue, all these different things. Like there is a plethora of chronic PTSD, or in Murtaugh's in Mel Gibson's character's case, like acute PTSD of like, with losing his wife and the struggles that go along with that, the suicidal ideations that like go into that, the personal blame of self, right? Which then comes out in maladaptive ways of him, being a loose cannon because he's projecting his own experience externally and trying to process it through others rather than working on it in himself. And you see that actually play out in like police and, when they try to control the environment in an unhealthy way beyond what is appropriate, right? Because they're they're trying to control the chaos within themselves, right? Or like, and again, healthcare, fire and rescue, all this, all these different environments and what they're exposed to on an everyday basis. They see the absolute worst of humanity, which can skew their perspective, right? And so being able to like having a movie like this, to me, that is to me, a very machismo type of movie, right? That we see Mel Gibson, the maladaptive one, and what makes Danny Glover's character such an adaptive one, despite like him being retired, too old for this crap, all this different stuff, is that he's got something to ground himself in, right? Something beyond the work, like going back to his family, the support, the why am I doing this, right? Whereas Mel Gibson's character has lost that, right? All he has is a dog, a shack on the beach, and the job, right? And so he doesn't have anything external. So he exists in that moment all the time. So he's not able to like step away from it, right? He hasn't been able to do the work. So to me, I love this movie because of the machismo aspect and it getting so that it hopefully that our people that work in the service sector can actually connect with that and hopefully get their own help. Maybe see a little bit of themselves in it and get their own help so that they can be better, so they can do their job the way that they intend to do and want to do the job, right?
Yeah, and I think the scene that really like highlights pretty much everything you're talking about is the scene where Riggs goes to deal with a jumper, like a guy who's standing on top of a building and he's going to jump, right? And so like the scene is kind of played for laughs, like it's funny, but at the same time, Riggs is completely unhinged, and his way to solve the situation is to jump with the guy, to control the jump. Like, that's nuts. And that just proves that he has lost the capacity to know the difference between safety and not safety because he's seen so much, he's done so much, and he is suicidal. He does want to jump, but at the same time, yeah. I mean,
No,
my brain just went, but I get you. Yeah.
No, I love it. That's exactly right, because I think in that, and again, like in that moment when like what that resonates to me with is that the indifference, right?
Yeah.
If I save the guy, great. If I don't, and we both go, I'm fine with that too.
Right. Exactly.
He wants to go. I kind of want to go. And so therefore, and it just shows like, these are, hopefully our brothers and sisters that work in the field kind of pull our members that are doing these behaviors aside and go like, go get your help, right? Go get your support. And like that we intervene, right? In
right.
healthy ways. So, sorry.
No, Thrash, I think it's your turn to name a movie.
Well, thank you. While I have several that are sort of left of center, as we were talking earlier, I'm going to open with a really solid 80s buddy cop movie. And I'm going to open with Stakeout.
Ah, yes.
With a Richard Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez.
Sure.
I love this movie. As we've talked about, a lot of these buddy cop movies are part comedy, part action drama, but Stakeout really is a comedy with plenty of action. But I thought the chemistry between Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez was great. I thought Richard Dreyfuss did an amazing job as this sort of very flawed cop who's basically trying to start all over again. There's that great scene where he realizes it's finally over with him and his ex, and he has the bottle in his hand. He hasn't cracked it open. He calls Emilio Estevez for support, and knowing his partner that well, he goes, "Have you cracked the bottle open?" He goes, No, I haven't." "Okay, put it down." And that type of, they're not just partners, they're literally like brothers, but they still have that sort of conflict between them. Richard Dreyfuss does something incredibly unprofessional. He becomes romantically involved with the person they're staking out with. Meanwhile, Emilio Estevez is trying to maintain that level of propriety. As that great line, "I worked my butt off to make detective before 30. I'm not going to throw it away because you want to be an idiot." And of course, it does become integral to the plot. But it all kind of comes together. I mean, the whole thing. And also, I love the fact no one gives Richard Dreyfuss any respect to the whole movie. There's that one scene where he's in a supermarket and the clerk is teasing him about his food choices. I'm like, no one gives this man any respect. He's this badass cop. That's that scene where the drunk shows up to Madeline Stowe's house, and you think he's gonna go over there and bust him up. And no, he diffuses the whole situation in this amazing scene, one of the best scenes of the whole movie. Um, he's this really great cop, but he just gets no respect at all until the end. And I just thought everything kind of came together. And Aiden Quinn as the bad guy, who I'd have a tough time being convinced him he was a bad guy. He usually plays like at the time he was playing heartthrobs.
Yeah,
or
like Benny and
sympathetic
June
characters.
or something. Yeah.
Exactly, but he plays a really scary bad guy in this. And there's one I always had this question, and I've never been able to find this out. When Aiden Quinn is, well, if you served in this prison to Richard Dreyfuss when he has him as a hostage, he goes, well, if you were in this prison, you must know this guy and this guy, and it's a test. You sure some of the names are real and some aren't. But then he says, there's one guy you must know, and Dreyfuss goes, yeah, I know him. He goes, yeah, what was he in for? He shot a cop. I always had a theory that that was his first partner, but they decided that that scene was unnecessary, so they clipped the exposition because they wanted to focus on his new partner. But I always had a feeling that there was some personal connection there. But again, I just thought the movie just came together wonderfully. It's a perfect example of those 80s buddy action comedy cop movies.
Yeah, that's actually a really good theory. I like it.
Oh, thank you.
But for Stakeout, I think the thing I remember most is actually seeing its cover at the video store where you've got like Richard Dreyfuss under the bed and Emilio Estevez behind him trying to pull him back as they're like looking at a woman who's undressing, like that always caught my eye because I was 12. So but no, I have seen the movie and it is good. It's been a while, but I do like it. It's a good choice.
Thank you.
Before we go any further, I did want to shout out Martial Arts Film Freak is here. So hello, Tristan. Yeah, New Police Story. That's a good one. Yeah. And of course, Wajimine then immediately goes to Rush Hour because Jackie Chan. Why not? I mean, Rush Hour is a great one.
And come on, it's got one of the best lines. Like, both of them, like in one and two. Like, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, right? and then when Jackie Chan later on is able to reverse that, because that's such a great memorable line, and then Jackie, like, no one understands the words that are coming out of your mouth or whatever,
right?
But then Jackie Chan's able to kind of reverse that when they go to China and everything. I really like that one. I love that one.
There have been a couple of really good ones that have been in the chat. I just want to say hi to people and say that I am reading them, but like we're trying to have a conversation, so like if I don't mention you or I don't talk about what you're talking about, I'm sorry. It's hard. We got a lot going on. Apparently Lance is having difficulties, so I guess Scott, it's your turn. Yeah.
Never mind. I was gonna make a joke, but I won't go there. So the movie that this is Eric's channel, not our From Here to Fraternity. So I'll hold off on that joke. No, but like the movie that I want to bring up, that I have to bring up. And Eric will laugh about this because it's a movie that involves my husband that he doesn't realize is my husband. And that's The Highwayman with Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner. And so it's on Netflix if you haven't seen it. It's about these two older, now like their personalities are different, but these two older Texas Rangers who come back in order to catch Bonnie and Clyde. And so it's, like, to me, it's more of a, like, it's not as action packed. Yes. I had to get it out of the way. But like, it's not as action packed. It's more like there's a lot of like character development and stuff like that. And the critics kind of like ripped it a bit, but the audience really liked it. I think it's underrated. I think it's a really good, because they're really great actors and they allow them to be really great actors. And one of my issues with buddy cop movies is that they lean too heavily on the action and to and to at the expense of character development, right? Like
Right.
you brought up, sorry, you brought up Lethal Weapon, right? Which has that really good balance between action and character development. This one, I think, goes, I acknowledge it goes a little heavy on the character development over the action. But again, they're older guys. It's, they're supposed to be like past their prime. And so they're not going to be like the like and also it's Bonnie and Clyde. There's not going to be massive explosions and stuff like that. So it really does lends itself to like this detective, kind of approach. So anyways, I really like that movie. I did think it was a good movie. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it's on Netflix.
I know of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen, one of the things I loved about it was when you do the Bonnie and Clyde story, it's really, really hard not to glamorize them, which is
Yes.
funny because they were sociopaths.
Right.
They were not nice people, but Hollywood loves to
Romanticize,
romanticize gangsters. This is just about the cops. Yes, we do see Bonnie and Clyde to a certain extent, but it's not about them. It's totally from the other side, and they do not attempt in any way, shape, or form to glamorize them. They're cold-hearted killers, and I love the fact they got her limp right, because one of the things is she had a nasty wound in her leg, and for like pretty much the whole time they were on the run, it was getting nasty, infected. So she had a profound limp, and they never show that in any of the other portrayals, but this one they did it. I thought they nailed it, and again I just like the fact that it's not about them; it's about the people tracking them.
The heroes. The true heroes, right?
Yes, the true
they heroize the true. You know what, Thrash? I'm sorry, Eric, if it's okay. Like,
no, go for it.
You bring up such a great point because Billy the Kid is an American like legend, right? But he's a sociopath. He's a murderer. He's not someone who was like Robin Hood and trying to help you. Like Jesse James, I can kind of get, right? The romanticization of Jesse James. Because he was like, there was still this little bit of this, like, fighting the authoritarianism, the libertarian type, like, appeal of fighting the government, the oppressors, from their perspective, the oppressors, and what, like, this continuing of the Confederate battle. Right, from the average person, right?
So I can,
right, and so I can kind of get that concept, right, with Jesse James. But so often when we look, and this is actually Bonnie and Clyde, is that like transition from the Wild West into the Wild City, right? When you had like Al Capone and all of these mobsters, right? Dillinger, right? All of these mobsters that were romanticized for being criminals and actually hurting people just because, because it's one person against the world, right? That we tend to continue on with, like, even into like movies like Die Hard and, like one man against a whole army kind of concept that, and I agree with you. At least in this movie, they're actually heroizing the true hero, right? Rather than the criminal. So that's a great point. Great movie point.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. Well, Lance has dropped out. He's in the chat. He's having issues with StreamYard and his connection.
Sorry, Lance, buddy.
We understand. You can come back if you can. We'll still be here. Maybe. So I guess that means it's my turn again. So this time I'm going to bring up, let's see, we already talked about Lethal Weapon. We kind of talked about Rush Hour already. I'm actually going to go way back and talk about Stray Dog. This is Akira Kurosawa. Apparently it's on Thrash's list. The plot, it starts out pretty simple. It's basically a cop has lost his gun on, I think it's a bus or something, I don't remember. And he wants to go get it without reporting that he's lost his gun, and he goes with another cop, an older cop who's more by the book, more a numbers guy who doesn't want him to go against protocol, and the two basically have to come together, and it turns into this big thing. It's more than about just a lost gun. It turns into this big crime thing, and it's fun. It's a good movie, and it's Kurosawa, so it's stylized as hell. But I don't know. I feel like that's the movie that really set the stage for the buddy cop movie. And when I was researching for Alien Nation, I was trying to research the background of the buddy cop movie. Almost everybody says Stray Dog is the first real buddy cop movie. So I had to bring it up. I love the movie. I've seen it a bajillion times because I own the entire Kurosawa collection. So if it would be wrong of me not to mention it at least. So Thrash, since it was on your list, what do you have to say about Stray Dog?
I own it as well. I haven't seen it nearly as many times as you. I've seen it a few times, but I do also own it, and it's an absolutely amazing film. And you're right, it is the first buddy cop movie. The only thing you have before that are things like Abbott and Costello meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Right.
Where it's more of a bumbling cop farce. But they're actual professional cops, although losing your firearm. Ironically, he had just been given a speech about how to be careful with that firearm, don't lose it.
Right.
And what's the first thing that happens is he goes on a bus and gets pickpocketed and he loses it. So there's a little unprofessionalism there, and he does sort of bend the rules in his attempt.
And just to be clear, a cop losing his gun is a serious thing. It's not something that should be taken lightly.
It's a really, really big deal.
It's just not what you expect to be the inciting incident in a buddy cop movie. You expect somebody to get shot,
Well, and the gun becomes an actual character.
It does.
The whole thing is him trying to get the gun back, and all the evils that the gun does, because it's in the wrong hands, quote unquote. That he has to try to get it back, and of course,
no, hit the wrong one. But yes, Michelle Yeoh is hot. I was actually just trying to say hi to Tracy. Hi, Tracy.
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh is hot. Yes, I couldn't agree with you more there. I don't think she was born at that time, but and of
I don't
course,
care. I'll go with it.
What happens? The buddy gets shot, and spoiler alert, by the way, and Toshiro Mifune, who I absolutely love. I think I have a crush on Toshiro Mifune.
He's one of the best.
He has an absolute meltdown. So there's that archetypical. Either you lose your partner or almost lose the partner, and that becomes an integral piece of the plot. And I adore the fact that it shows a real cross-section of what conditions were like in post-war Japan. And that's one of the reasons why Kurosawa made the film, is I wouldn't say he was trying to thumb his nose at the American occupation, but he was trying to show basically how the Japanese were being subjugated. And I thought it gave a great picture of this sort of what conditions were like for the common people, even though it's really about the cops. You which actually is going to lead me to another movie I have on my list, where sometimes the social commentary is an even bigger part of the story than in others.
Oh, absolutely. And with Kurosawa, forgive me if I turn into film professor mode, but one of the things that Kurosawa was trying to do is he was trying to fight against basically censorship. The whole Japanese art scene, cinema and everything was very, very heavily censored by the Americans and by the Japanese. Both of them were both censoring and making sure that the messages that were coming out of artists in Japan at that time were all good and peaceful and not provocative. Because they were trying to get this post-war recovery going, and you didn't want to piss off the Americans because maybe they'll drop another nuclear bomb on us or something. But Kurosawa was very good at skating that line of he had a lot to say, but he was muzzled, and he found ways to get around the muzzle. And I think he did it better than almost any other Japanese filmmaker of the time, until the economic miracle and all those censorship things fell away. So yeah, Stray Dog is a good example of that, of Kurosawa using what is essentially a simple cop movie, and making it about a social statement about the way Japanese culture is progressing and the flaws in the system as he sees them. And yeah, I respect the hell out of that. So yeah, I could go more in depth, but we got other things to talk about.
Well, I was gonna say it's actually it's one that I've never seen, and I can't believe that I have not seen this Kurosawa movie. But so I was like, what? And so it is streaming for free on Tubi if you register with Tubi and get an
Cool.
account on Tubi. So if you don't own it, like Eric and Thrash, if you are like myself and don't actually own a copy of it, you can stream it on Tubi. And that's a free service that has ads and stuff like
No, and
that.
honestly, as an entry point to early Kurosawa, that's actually a pretty good one. Yeah,
It was his second movie, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
He only made one other, and it was like a war movie made during the war, like 1944.
Yeah, he did actually, like, he got his start making war propaganda, basically, for Japan. That's how he started his career.
What are movies if not propaganda?
So,
No, Red Dawn's not propaganda.
So I'm going to throw out one that may be questionable, okay? And I would like to get your opinion on it because I love this movie. I think it kind of fits the mold of the buddy cop, but it's a little bit not quite. So it's See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor.
wow.
They're not cops. However, they're trying to thwart like murderous thieves. So they're trying to stop crime without being actual cops, and they like have to work together because one is blind, one is deaf. Gene Wilder is blind, Richard Pryor's deaf. Immensely humorous, but I know it's a comedy, but would it fall into the realm of buddy cop? Because it is a pair that are trying to actually thwart a crime.
Yeah, by strict definition, I'd say probably not, but it follows all the basic buddy cop tropes. Like, it feels like a buddy cop movie, if nothing else. So, sure, we'll count it.
And while we're on topic, they made
What does
other
it? What
films-
does? I'm curious
Hi,
what
Lance.
Lance. I'm curious what Lance says about that. And, oh, okay. Well, he's got to leave. Okay, but I'm curious, like, what the audience feels about that. Like, I would love to see the audience like vote yay or nay on is See No Evil, Hear No Evil a buddy cop. What are their thoughts? And so,
Yes or no?
I would say if you look at the movies they made together, like Silver Streak and Stir Crazy, which again, same thing. They're put together trying to overcome a criminal enterprise. One, they go to prison for it. Silver Streak, I think, would work the best of the three because Gene Wilder ends up working for a law enforcement agent through the shenanigans that happens. He, the guy from Deliverance. I can't think of his name to save my life, but Beatty.
oh yeah. Like Harold Beatty.
It's gonna drive me nuts.
I'm pulling it. I'm pulling it up. Go ahead. Ned Beatty.
Love you.
Ned Beatty.
Ned Beatty, not
course.
Beatty. Ned Beatty. Ned Beatty, who plays the fallen officer. He farms out his mission to Gene Wilder and even gives him his gun. So technically, Gene Wilder is working for the police department, albeit by proxy. But I have to say, as far as the actual overall dynamic, I got to give it to you. You're right.
And the chat seems to agree. Almost everybody says yes. Danny asks about it's almost Halloween season. And I just want to say, for this channel, as an update, I am hard at work making videos for October. I've got a lot lined up. I'm doing a lot of research into the Universal Classics, but I've got other things lined up too. So yeah, look forward to that. In October on my channel, I'm going to be putting out a video every single week, which is more often than I usually do, which is why I'm already working on it now. So get ready for that.
I still have my fingers crossed that Universal will come out with the Universal Monster Universe, and they'll do a good job with it. Like,
yeah, I mean, the Dark Universe is a
Dark
pratfall,
Universe.
and it's embarrassing. But like, I've been rooting for it the whole time. Like, I want it to work. I really, really do.
Yeah,
They just
I
keep
don't
making
care
all
how
the
many
wrong
times.
choices.
I don't care how many times they have to reboot it and retry it. I want them to never give up.
Yeah,
because
me too.
because once it works and they get it right, it'll be phenomenal. It'll
think
be
so.
epic. And there's so many different ways that you can go with it, so many different directions that you can go with it, and so much you can do with it. I think like the League of Gentlemen or
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Extraordinary Gentlemen, yeah. I love that comic book, but like I
love that terrible movie. So
yeah, I know everybody says it's terrible. I love
still love it.
Right?
Yeah, I love it too.
I love it. And like it shows you just how rich this universe, this dark universe can be, like in some of the potential and the yeah. So I just anyways. Sorry for that diversion.
No, that's fine.
No, it's a great diversion. I think it was a great excellent point. My turn.
Indie spokes. I don't know why, but it says a million times no, and I'm just like I don't know what it is, but I'm right there with you. Okay.
That's our indie.
Before you make your choice, Thrash, I did want to highlight this comment from Vin Vanderstraten because I was thinking about that just earlier this morning about how that movie Bright is basically just Alien Nation with fantasy creatures instead of aliens. Yeah, you're not wrong. But Alien Nation is a better movie.
Yep. Bright is I love fantasy. Bright is so bad.
It's just
it was done so poorly, and like, but it was a brilliant idea. It was a great idea.
Even
really
the cast was good. It was just the movie was not good.
Yeah. I don't know who dropped the ball in it, but it was just poorly done.
But before Thrash has an aneurysm talking about Will Smith, what's your choice?
Go ahead.
He's gonna say Bad Boys. I know it.
Oh yeah. Two of my favorites. One thing before I give my next choice. Indy, you transparently are a huge Robert Heinlein fan. Have you seen my post on Stranger in a Strange Land? You can't miss it. It shows me sharing water with Marvin the Martian. So please, if you haven't checked it out, please check it out, and I'm dying to know what you think. Moving forward, I'm going to pick another one out of left field because it's what I do. I'm going to pick Soylent Green. And as we've discussed, technically only one of them is a cop, but Book is actually working for the police department. So, and they are certainly buddies. Now, one's always in the field, one's, I don't think, well, apart from the very end, we never actually see Book leave the house until he checks out altogether. But I think the dynamic between the two of them fits brilliantly. I love the fact one is old world and one is new world. I love the futuristic police procedural, which it's funny. I don't know if any of you have actually read Make Room. The Harry Harrison.
I actually have not read the book. No,
it's not very good.
That's why I haven't read
it. Yeah, you're not missing much. It's more just the police procedural as opposed to the actual action. And he spent. It was almost designed as a cautionary tale where he was trying to warn people what the world would be like in the future based on their projections in the 1960s. And he goes to the world building is a little too much. He's like really trying to show you how bad things will get, and to the point where it detracts from the story. In Soylent Green, I thought that was just the right amount of that. I mean, we actually saw where things delved to, but he didn't beat you over the head with it. And I thought it was excellent. I thought it was very well put together. I love the supporting cast, and Charlton Heston as a badass futuristic cop. You gotta love it.
I mean, it's definitely like an off the wall choice, since Book spends most of the movie inside, and isn't really like. But I see the dynamic when the scenes with the two of them together do play out like buddy cops, and I get that. But yeah, of course I love Soylent Green. I've like exhausted myself talking about Soylent Green on this channel. So I'll give Scott a chance to say whatever he has to say.
No, I like for me, like beyond just like meme worthiness or whatever. I think Soylent Green is like an excellent movie. But like to me, I'm not one of those that there has to be a hard and fast or a black and white approach to like, definitions. I because again, to me, the world is in grays, right? And our experience
and language is
in
messy
grays,
anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly, right? And so like to me, I think that again, I agree. Like that like it's sci-fi, right? And so it's easy because it's futuristic and everything. It's easy to just go throw it away and that it's in there, right? But like there's so much overlap with different concepts that you're doing a buddy cop in this other genre. I just like to me, I get where it's coming from, and so I get where Thrasher's coming from, and so I would definitely, I think it's a great choice,
And Book even has his own like investigative side project where he's like learning about the history of Soylent Green and the whole like ocean surveys and stuff like that. Like he goes to the library and he talks to the old people and yeah. Um but for me, like I agree. We shouldn't be too sticklers for definitions. It really doesn't matter. We're just here to have a conversation.
I mean, it's okay if it doesn't hold water. I'm more pitching a concept. So
No, I get you.
Right.
So like, what about say a bounty hunter and an accountant? Because I've got Midnight Run on my list, and that is, to me, that's a buddy cop movie, even though it's not really. Like, because you've got Robert De Niro. He's a bounty hunter. He's going after Charles Grodin, who's an accountant who's discovered something. Like he's unlocked some corruption, basically in De Niro's boss, and the two of them eventually, like Robert De Niro just wants to take his bounty and go. He doesn't care about anything else, and eventually Grodin like breaks him down and convinces him that there's more to this, and they wind up working together to take down the big FBI agent. I don't know. I love that movie because it's fun and the dynamic, but the chemistry between De Niro and Grodin is really, really good. And Charles Grodin is just, I mean, he's just Charles Grodin, but his chemistry with De Niro is perfect. It's so good. So yeah, we're talking about movies that are only barely buddy cop movies. That one comes to mind immediately.
The way they work together, it does fit the dynamic, and it certainly hits all the other points. So, you know what? I say I'll give it a thumbs up. Yay! I agree.
I just like because like. But I love to stick.
I can be a pedantic. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think we should care too much.
What was it? There's a podcast that I listen to, Dungeons and Daddies or whatever they do, like a dungeon thing, and there's a character called Well Actually, and so like right like it's yeah. So I just think of him, and but like Midnight Run. What would you classify it as then? Okay,
just
it's
an action
movie?
comedy, I guess.
like that to me, like then that's like to say it's action is such a broad scope.
It is. Action
that it
can
doesn't
be almost
actually
anything.
right. Like so, you're saying that Midnight Run is the same as the Expendables, like that doesn't mesh, or it's the same as Rambo. Like those are not. Those to me that's. Like Rambo is like because again it's the action that drives it, you know, like we talked about
from
like
two
action
on
movies,
obviously.
right? Whereas Midnight Run, like movies like that, it's not the action that's driving it, right? And so like Soylent Green, like I think this is where I kind of because it's an investigation into something, right? And that's what cops do. And to me, that investigative part, that deducing part is the leading whether and again that's why I get into like see no evil hear no evil, that it's they may not be cops but they're doing the Sherlock Holmes type deduction to foil the plot, right? To foil a criminal endeavor or foil a plot, right?
Yeah, you just mentioned Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes and Watson is a buddy cop pair, and neither one of them is a cop. So.
Right. That's like you can't say Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, that's actually Sherlock Holmes. That's great. I didn't even think about that because I always assume that as a buddy cop, right?
Hello,
without even
John.
thinking about the fact that neither one of them actually are a cop, right?
He was inexplicably delayed. I'm sorry about that. You should get that fixed.
Bum.
Okay.
I think Scott, you're up next.
Yeah, I think it's your turn now.
Okay, movie that I love, and it's a recent movie. I really like this. I don't think a lot of people will agree with me, but I'm, you know, pretty forgiving with movies to an extent. But I love The Nice Guys, Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. I think it was really, really funny. I think it's like clashing personalities. I just thought it was a good movie. I liked it.
I only saw it once. I think I was hungover when I saw it, so like
It didn't it didn't stick.
it didn't really stick. But like, it's a Shane Black movie, and it's got that Shane Black style, like in movies like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which you could also argue is a buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
And I do like that. I do like that style, and I should like The Nice Guys. It's just like I said, I only saw it the one time, and I probably wasn't in the right headspace. I don't remember shit. I don't remember anything about it.
I must confess, I have not seen it. And I see this as a growing sentiment. More and more people I talk to say the same thing. I spend most of my time watching old movies, either old ones I haven't seen yet for somehow, or ones that I've seen 40 times but decided to go for 41. I cannot get into modern cinema, and it's not that I'm a snob, and it's not there isn't good cinema out there. My comfort zone is from the 1930s to 2000. That is like my niche, as it were. So unfortunately, I cannot weigh in either way because I haven't seen it. I think
Yeah,
the last
and
movie
I
saw was Dune.
I do try to stay up to date with cinema, but like you, I tend to watch older stuff more often. I mean, if for no other reason than for this channel. And again, it's not because I'm a snob either. I mean, I did a video on the Ice Pirates. I cannot possibly be a film snob.
I loved Ice Pirates. That was not a buddy cop movie, but I loved the Ice Pirates.
Such a great one of my all-time favorites.
Think about what almost just happened, or it will.
So,
But no, like I said, with The Nice Guys, like I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and a lot of people who really like it, and I should like it for a lot of the same reasons that I said. I just, I don't remember it. Sorry.
that's all right. Yeah. That's what I'm here. I'm here for like the recent crappy movies, and I will that are really fun and good for you to like check out. So
Yeah, if you're gonna watch a Shane Black movie, you can do far worse. You can watch The Predator, which is not watchable.
oh yeah, the new one.
Yeah. Whew. Well, actually, the newest one, Prey.
No, not the
really,
newest
really
one. No,
good movie.
Yeah. Not the newest one. The one, the new, like the newer.
The Predator.
Like,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
yeah.
Less said about that, the better. Anyway, Thrash, your turn.
It is again. Okay, I'm gonna go with another one that's sort of it's a buddy cop, but in a slightly different genre. I'm gonna go with Off Limits with William Dafoe and Gregory Hines, and they're two investigative officers in the military during the Vietnam War while it's really, really, really going to shit. And they're investigating a murder. And there's that whole. And we've seen it in a lot of other movies dealing with the military where it's probably said best in Apocalypse Now, where the Charlie Sheen, I can't remember his character. Martin Sheen, rather. I can't remember his character's name at the time I left. But Martin Sheen's character says, investigating people for murder in Vietnam is like giving out speeding tickets at the Indy 500. They're investigating this one single murder in the midst of all these other horrible shenanigans which are going on in the war. I thought the chemistry between the two of them was amazing. Like so many other buddy cop movies, it discusses various racial tensions and other social problems that were going on at the time. Thankfully, those days are over. And the only thing I didn't like about it was the supposed twist ending, and I'm not going to give a spoiler in case you guys haven't seen it. Go out and see it, and you tell me. But again, I just thought the two of them working together were absolutely. Gregory Hines was always best with a partner. Any movie, I thought he was great on his own, but he always seemed best when he was playing off someone. And William Dafoe, I thought, was one of his best. I don't know if a foil is the right word, but one of his best people that he worked with.
Willem Dafoe.
Oh, love it. Have either of you two seen this film, by the way?
I actually haven't. I'm not even familiar with it, but it sounds great.
I saw it a long time ago, and I can't remember it, but I know exactly. Like, I can't remember it well, but I did see it like a long time ago when I was younger. But I'll have to rewatch it. But I agree with you about like Thrash, about Gregory Hines, almost like like well, like he's known for his dance, right? And
Of
so
course.
like so I think that concept of working with a partner, I don't know if it like that had something to do with it, right?
Oh.
And so being
Insight.
able to play, yeah, I don't know if that like plays into his improved ability to work with like like working with someone brings out his performance or enriches his performance. But like I think that was a really good point because I agree with you. I think when he's partnered with someone, he tends to do a lot better. His movies
Yeah,
were
like
much better.
in Running
White
Scared.
Knights. Oh,
Yeah.
Running Scared is what
Yeah.
it's actually on my list. Love that movie.
Go ahead and talk about that one since we brought it up, and that's been brought up before. That would be great for you guys because that
Oh.
one's one I don't think I've actually seen that one. Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines. I don't like.
I just love their dynamic. The Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal, the way they play off each other. They don't actually have too many differences. Like it's a buddy cop movie where they're more aligned than usual. I mean, they do have some differences. Don't get me wrong, but like it feels like they're more of a team than usual, which is fine. It works for it because I mean it's a comedy and the way the two play off each other is just pitch perfect. It's so much fun. It's been a while since I saw it, so I can't really talk too much about plot details, but like the thing I remember most is just how much I love those two characters together.
One of the things that I thought was amazing about it is going into it, and again, I think I was still in high school when the movie came out, but I saw it in the theaters. Gregory Hines never struck me as a particularly badass individual, and Billy Crystal is one of the most formidable people on the planet. And the fact that they could actually play off as tough city cops, I thought was a splendid reach for both of them, and still managed to be very, very, very funny. And you're right, the chemistry between the two of them was absolutely amazing. I was actually bummed out they never did another movie together, by the way, because I
Yeah.
wanted them to. I wanted them to. Heck, I would have gone to see Running Scared too.
Why not? Yeah.
You know, you couldn't make that nowadays, I'm afraid. But again, I thought that they were great together, and it had such a great supporting cast. By the way, oh, I always get her name wrong, and I had a crush on her too. Diane Flugel.
Yeah, Darlene Flugel.
Yeah.
I had like such a crush on her, and she very tragically died of early onset dementia. It's very, very, very sad. But
Really?
she has yes, yeah, very, very, very sad. She plays Billy Crystal's ex-wife, and of course, spoiler alert, they get back together, which is one of these ongoing things that you see in these buddy cop movies. There's always some flawed relationship that gets resolved somehow. It's almost operatic. You know, we take down the bad guy, and I get back with my ex, and somehow the two are connected. But anyway, she was in that as well. One of my favorite lines in the whole thing is she leaves Billy Crystal for a dentist, and he goes, "What's his favorite flavor? Lavoris?" It's like, and Greg Helms is like, "Ooh." But yeah, great film, great film.
Yeah, Indy, I love that line. That would be a great sequel title for
Little
the sequel.
tagline, yeah.
Yeah. Still running, still scared. No, and it's got Joe Pantaleone, it's got Jimmy
Oh, yeah.
Smith, Stephen Bauer, so a lot, Larry Hankin, like a lot of really, John Grease. Oh my God, dude, a whole bunch of great actors.
Amazing.
And one of the other things I
Amazing
like
support.
about
Great
it in
cast,
terms
yeah.
of like the buddy cop dynamic is these two characters are almost both the loose cannon archetype, and there's another pair of cops in the movie that's like part of the plot, and the other pair of cops is a lot more straight-laced, and they're basically just looking slack-jawed at Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal the entire movie. Like, how are you people still alive? You know, I love that. I think it's really fun.
I like that
That's an
concept,
excellent
right?
point.
Instead of like the Riggs and like instead of
Riggs and Murtaugh, yeah.
Yeah, instead of Riggs and Murtaugh, like it's a pair that's the Riggs and Murtaugh rather than right just the individual. So that's interesting. And also, it is free on Tubi if you want to watch it. So
This episode has been brought to you by Tubi.
I know,
I was gonna say,
I know. I
Are
just
you
like to
an
look up.
employee of Tubi or something?
No, I'm looking up like with these movies. I always add them to my list. That's why I love watching y'all's like channels, and like even if I'm not there like while it's live, I always like going back because I have this laundry list of movies that I have to get to, right? And because you guys bring up such wonderful things, so I'm always like, I don't own these, so how do I get access to them? And so I always like to bring up to people like, hey, look, this is how you can stream it for free. If you have, and this is where you can watch it so that you can check these things out. So I always like to do that because like, hey, go watch it. Like, especially if you guys if I mention something, you don't have to watch it. But if you two mention something, definitely go watch it because it's going to be a quality movie. And so
I've got a list that goes on and on and on just from Tristan's channel. He's still here, Martial Arts Film Freak. I've been watching his channel for like a year or so, like just like nonstop, and I've got so many like martial arts movies that I have to watch. It's like insane how long that list is.
I go through that with Dark Corners reviews.
Yeah.
I am as you've probably discussed, realized at this point, I am something of a virtuoso of old horror. And they have found so many movies that some of them I've never even heard of. And I'm like, nope, gotta watch that, gotta watch that. I have like a movie bucket list, which it's falling into the category of I should live so long.
right.
Life and Sad Ending is here.
Steve,
how's it going?
I need to become a billionaire just so that I can sit around and watch movies and catch up on all of this wonderful like storytelling, right? These wonderful, that way, like, because working is getting in the way of that. So working, kids, family, like life. So anyway,
life is inconvenient.
Go ahead, Eric. I know, right?
Well, first, see you later, Joe. Literally, I will see you later.
Yeah.
BK is here.
BK on the air.
BK!
What's up?
Hey.
And I wanted to go back. There was a couple of good ones. Life and Sad Ending. Steve said Blazing Saddles.
Oh.
I would say that's a buddy cop movie, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those is sheriff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, right. Like,
absolutely.
Right. A black sheriff.
And then Indy mentions Hot Fuzz, which I like Hot Fuzz because it's so genre bending. Like it starts like a funny buddy cop movie where you got one straight laced and one kind of goofball. But then it just devolves into this weird like sci-fi thriller madness and becomes like just a balls to the wall action movie in the last like half an hour where it's just shooting everybody. Like it's a wild movie. And it's part of the Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead.
That's what it's called.
Yeah,
That's what it's called. Cornetto. Yeah. I love it.
It's a great one. It's fun. It's a different one because it's so genre bending. Edgar Wright doesn't like to stick to genre, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
It's always fun. So yeah, okay, it's my turn.
And I'd like, just to kind of build on what you
ahead.
said, kind of like what we've talked about, right? Is that this strict rigidity to classifications, like I agree with you with Edgar Wright, right? Like this challenging of what we assume it has to be and breaking that mold so that it expands your like, especially for people that get into these niche like areas, it allows you to tap into other areas that you wouldn't be able, especially for like movie reviewers and things like that, allows you to tap into other movies that you normally wouldn't assume as part of this group, but does fall into like this blending, the Venn diagram of movies, right?
I love Venn diagram. That's a perfect way of explaining it. I love it.
Yeah, I get in a lot of trouble whenever I cover something that some people think is not sci-fi, and I actually kind of like it because all those commenters who are like me leaving angry comments, that's just that's more what's
Helps
the
your
word?
algorithm?
Engagement. Yeah, it helps the algorithm.
Yeah.
But also like science fiction is such a broad term, and it's not really a genre all of its own. Like every sci-fi movie fits into another genre. Like you're a sci-fi action movie, you're a sci-fi horror movie, you're a sci-fi drama. There's no such thing as a straight sci-fi movie. It doesn't exist.
It would be dull.
Yeah, and it would be boring. Like the closest I can come is 2001, and a lot of people think that one's really, really boring. I don't, but most people do.
Yeah, you're right.
Solaris. Okay, Solaris is a really good example.
No offense, it's a great movie, but
no, I actually am planning on covering it when I get 10,000 subscribers. So, and that's going to be soon.
I can't wait for 30 years to go by so that you can to hear your cover of Gravity, your review of Gravity, and
but yeah,
no, like, but no, again, I feel like these are, you know, that it makes life interesting, right? To just only use salt when you're cooking is such boring. Salt is great, but like if that's all you're using, it's really bland and boring. You got to use the whole, spice rack and like really enjoy it.
My analogy is, and I'm so glad you used it because I'm gonna like I'll give you mine. It's like a good marinara sauce will make a dish, but if you were to sit down and eat a bowl of marinara sauce, it would make you sick.
Yes.
So it flavors it, but it does not. It's not the meat and bones.
Right. Exactly.
Mixed metaphors aside.
Okay. Sorry. Go for it, Eric.
How dare you, Indy? Just how dare you?
Well.
I mean, yeah, it kind of is, but like, it's such an important movie.
There's before it and after it.
Yeah.
But speaking of Heinlein, didn't Heinlein not like it?
He wasn't too big on it. Like he appreciated what it was trying to do because it was basically based on some of his work. But he released that book, "The Man Who Sold the Moon," is kind of like his reaction to it. Like this is what the movie should have been. Yeah.
Hey, it's only $2 on Amazon Prime.
I want $2.
$2.
I couldn't resist.
That's a great.
Let me look at my list real quick. Well, we haven't talked about In the Heat of the Night, which
Nor will we.
I have not seen in a very long time.
I love In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah, I do love it too, and it's a great movie. And it's a movie that holds its importance on its sleeve. I mean, it's obviously about racism and very, very clearly about racism, and it does not hide that, does not shy away from that, and it's got Sidney Poitier, so of course it's a great movie. Like, I don't know what else to say about it, honestly, other than
And Rod Steiger. You have
of course, Ron Steiger, yes.
Ron Steiger.
My favorite actor of all time. Yeah, it's simply an amazing movie. They called me Mr. Tibbs. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
It's so quotable, And even though Rod Steiger is not a particularly likable character, he has such intensity, and it just I simply can't say enough about it. It's just an absolutely amazing. It's one of the movies where there was before it and after it. It was that influential.
It kind of started the whole.
Poitier.
I mean, it wasn't the first buddy cop movie in America, but it is the movie that I feel like launched that as a genre in America. Like that movie really like set the stage, and it set that template that we already talked about, where you've got one black cop, one white cop. That tends to even still happen today. That tends to be a very common trope of the genre. And I think In the Heat of the Night is a lot responsible for that. Yeah, Training Day, which I thought about putting on my list, but they're not really buddies.
I couldn't either, and for the exact same reason. But I thought we should reference it particularly now.
No, absolutely, yeah.
That one's. I'll like. Yeah, you're right. It's not a buddy cop, so it is a cop. It is a cop movie, but
it's not a good cop and an edgy cop. It's a good cop and a terrible cop.
Right, and right. And like, spoiler alert. No, but like, yeah, it's God. But it's a great movie.
It is a great movie, though.
Yeah. You're right. Oh man, that's a good one.
And I love the depiction they did it in Rick and Morty. The Rick and Morty where they actually you haven't seen that one? It's one of the best episodes of Rick and Morty they ever did. It takes place on the Citadel of Ricks, and they pair a rookie cop with a jaded Morty. Going to Morty Town, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I didn't know that Training Day existed and didn't know anything about it, and you told me there was a movie with Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington, and one of them was going to be the bad guy, I never would pick Denzel Washington. I would always assume it's Ethan Hawke.
I know. For acting ability alone.
Yeah, Sorry. I mean, Denzel can act, but like...
Oh no, Denzel can act circles around Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke, to me, and I'm sorry, he never really came back from Reality Bites. Sorry. I mean, he's a competent actor, but he never came back from that with me. I look at him going,
Yeah, you got. I mean, there's some obscure movies you have to see if you really want to see Ethan Hawke act. You got to see like
Midnight
Born to Be
Clear.
Blue, where he plays Chet Baker. Holy cow, he's good in that. I don't
I
know.
love
I think
both-
he is a good actor, but when he
Yeah.
like phones in his performance, he really
Yeah,
phones in his
it's
performance.
evident.
Yeah.
But I love Before Sunrise. Like that's one of
Oh,
my
yeah, that's a
all-time
good one.
favorite movies.
Yeah,
No, I wasn't sure. It looked like your face was like, "Oh, really? You like that one? Oh, that's nice. Okay."
Oh no, I was.
I wasn't
I'm
sure.
sorry. I did not mean. I was thinking about Ethan Hawke, and I'm sorry if that looked like I flashed you. I
I
apologize.
wanted it to be that. I wanted it to be that because it
Oh.
looked wonderful. Like it
Oh.
was like, "Oh, good for you." Like it's good. Anyways, sorry.
I want to say hi, Mom, before you finish your thought. And actually, I did bring up Sherlock Holmes and Watson as an example of like buddy cops that aren't actually cops. Yeah.
Yep.
We did talk about it. And also, Steve, you and I, same page. Love Chet Baker. He's one of my favorite jazz musicians of all time. So anyway, finish your thought.
Oh, that's it
Oh,
for
you're
me.
done?
Oh.
Oh, really? I don't think I've ever heard Scott say those words. I have completely lost track of whose turn it is.
I think it's my turn.
Okay.
All right. So I'm debating, but I'm going to go with it. Like, I'm debating between two, but like, I'm going to go with like, what are your thoughts about Point Break as a buddy cop?
Almost made the list.
Yeah,
Almost
I
on the
also
list.
considered it. I definitely considered it.
Because even though it's, again, spoiler alert, even though it's an undercover agent infiltrating, they develop a friendship that makes it, when he finally has to like make the arrest, to me that really makes the ending of the movie, right? That I don't want to do this, but I have to, right? And like, I know like Patrick Swayze isn't a cop, but I don't know. It's questionable. To me, if
Gary
people are like,
Busey is. So you see, you have two ends of the spectrum. It's
Oh, well,
part
yeah.
buddy cop because of the Gary Busey character. The other part of the equation is the bond he develops with Patrick Swayze. So Keanu Reeves has this sort of duality going on, which it's almost like his id and his ego. If I'm like I'm
yeah,
kind of spitballing here, you know what I'm talking about.
Nope. Yep.
So I think it works on many levels, and they all come together. And I remember I saw Point Break wanting to hate it. I things I'd heard about it, I go, oh my god, this movie's going to suck. And I was watching it going, I absolutely fell in love with that movie. And for any
I hate
number
that
of
they
reasons.
remade it.
Yeah, the remake, I haven't seen it, but it looks terrible.
I have no desire. I have no desire to see it. Like honestly, don't like. I've never seen it. So if anybody has and they're like, no, it was phenomenal, great. But to me, Patrick Swayze, Gary Busey, like, oh come on, you cannot beat Gary Busey, especially like with the like. Anytime I saw an AI of Gary Busey as a Sith Lord or whatever, and he's holding the lightsaber upside down. Yeah, and then there's like a stormtrooper with a med kit behind him or whatever. I'm like, to me, I'm like, yes, right? But like, you got like Patrick Swayze, Gary Busey, Keanu Reeves. I think Keanu Reeves does an excellent job in that movie. Like, even as much a crap as he gets for, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
and he was like at the height of his whoa period.
Yeah.
In that movie. Like
Yeah.
somebody saying Keanu Reeves is going to play a surfer, and like, really? Wow, what a stretch.
I know, right? So like, I thought it was like, but it was like, to me, it's a really, really great movie. And if someone were to tell me, go like, Scott, that is not a buddy cop movie, I think fair.
The way I look
okay,
at
you're in season.
the way I look at it is it's kind of like a Serpico or a Donnie Brasco, but it's like it's that kind of a story, but it's told in the style of a buddy cop movie. Like it has all the trappings of a buddy cop movie while not actually being a buddy cop movie. So that's the way I look at it.
Gotcha.
Okay, Thrash. I
Thrash.
think it is your turn.
I'm gonna go with another one of my '80s favorites, Nighthawks.
Oh,
Ooh, good
people in
one.
the comments have been waiting for this one.
Oh, really? Yes. No, the fun, and again, I kind of debated because it's a buddy cop in the sense you got Stallone and Billy D. Williams, but it's really not about the two of them. It's basically about everything else. But I had to put it. I thought Billy D. Williams was amazing. I thought the two of them worked great together. I remember my dad took me to see it in the theaters when I was like 13 years old, and I remember I was so bummed out because Billy D sort of checks out for the last half of the movie. Well, maybe not that much, but you know what I'm saying, because he gets his face, and that face slashing scene is like what I like literally jumped out of my chair as a kid. But Nighthawks, it has it all. It has an iconic villain, Rutger Hauer, an iconic villain, sidekick, henchman, girlfriend,
No.
Precis Kambata. Lindsay Wagner is great, as we were always talking about how there's a failed relationship that has to be resolved. Lindsay Wagner as the ex. Stallone, think it may be one of his best roles. I thought he did an outstanding job. He certainly didn't phone it in on that one. I like the fact that they developed both of like there wasn't like the main cop and the sidekick. The two of them were, I thought, developed very, very, very well. And and I'm sure you already know this, Mr. Tug. Catherine Stewart
Yeah.
has a walk on. She plays the girl at the as a perfume counter or something in the shopping mall in the opening terrorist scene. So I just wanted that read into the record. But yeah, one of my favorites to this day.
I still have that email from Catherine Mary Stewart. I treasure it.
awesome.
I kiss it at night.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
always
yes.
forget to mention her middle name because she does the Catherine Mary Stewart.
Yeah.
I always just say Catherine Stewart, but yes, thank you for reminding me.
What did you get that email for?
When I did my review of The Last Starfighter, one of my friends
that's right.
had actually, one of my YouTube friends had actually contacted her about something else, and she'd gotten back to him. So he like passed along my video to her, and then she contacted me about it. So that was fun. That was nice.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay.
That's
sorry.
one of the cool things about this YouTube channel is that I've actually talked to a few people in the actual business. I don't usually talk about it in the videos because usually they say they don't want me to. But like I've talked to a lot of cool people that like it's exciting. It's neat. It's fun. Like Bruce Joel Rubin, the guy who directed my first horror classic review, Jacob's Ladder. I talked to him at length. And he was a fascinating man. I mean, he still is. He's a fascinating man.
He remains fascinating.
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting off topic. I think
Yeah,
it's
so-
my
your turn.
turn. At the risk of getting Thrash's ire up by mentioning Will Smith, I'm going to say Men in Black.
Oh,
It fits.
He does.
Across
It
the board.
absolutely fits as a buddy cop movie. And the dynamic between Will Smith and God, what is his name? God damn it.
Um, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes, Tommy Lee Jones. Sorry, my brain is just cold medicine. Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. They're done again. The thing I watch buddy cop movies for apparently is the dynamic between the two leads, and the two leads here are perfect. It's fantastic. I love their dynamic. I even like it as the movies progress, and yeah, the movies get progressively awful, but like I still like them together. I think that makes them all work. Yeah, so there you go. And I don't think that Thor and Valkyrie had the same dynamic in the Men in Black International, which was not very good.
did not see that.
Yeah, don't bother. It's not
I
worth
won't.
it.
But no, that one, it definitely fits the template on all levels.
Oh,
And
looks like Lance is
so-
back.
Oh, Lance, hey, welcome back, buddy.
Hey guys,
Hey, welcome back.
sorry about that. Sorry for earlier.
No, it happens. We understand.
I
Do you have
got
any
one.
thoughts on Men in Black? Oh, you've got one? Go for it.
How about Showdown in Little Tokyo?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's a good one. Definitely.
Brandon Lee and Dolph Lundgren.
Yep.
about that?
Hold on, sorry. Distracted.
That was the one that he did right before The Crow, right?
Yeah,
Or was that the? Yeah.
he did. He did Rapid Fire, then Children of Tokyo, and then Screw.
Right. And I've seen Rapid Fire. I actually haven't seen Showdown in Little Tokyo.
What?
I haven't seen it. I'm sorry,
I
I
haven't
missed
seen it either.
Wow.
I'm a terrible person. But I love him in Rapid Fire, and of course I love The Crow. The Crow is one of my favorite movies. I've talked about it at length. So yeah, I should definitely go see it. I should check it out.
Well, there
What
you
about
go.
you, Thrash? Have you seen it?
Full disclosure, no, I haven't. But I know the premise, so it does fit the bill.
Sorry, Lance. None of us have seen it. We're terrible.
Wow.
But
But it's got Tia Carrera. It's It's got a phenomenal Carrie Haru.
They got Mortal Kombat, the bad guy.
Teguana.
The bad guy in Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's got a great cast.
Cool. Okay. Well, that means it's your turn,
My
Scott.
turn. So I'm gonna bring one up. I think I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. Whatever. I'm used to it. But I liked Cop Out.
Oh boy.
I know.
Isn't that Kevin Smith? And
That's Kevin Smith, and it's
that's
got
the one where Bruce Willis is.
It's got Bruce Willis, Tracy Morgan, and Kevin Smith directed it. It's an homage to buddy cop movies. I think it's funny, but I actually liked it. I know that there was that Bruce Willis phoned it in. I know there's a lot of crap behind it, and I think despite everything that all the turmoil that was on the set between Bruce Willis and Kevin Smith, he was still the fact that he was still able to put something together that to me I thought was actually funny. And so it wasn't as serious buddy cop movie. It was an homage to buddy cop movies, right? And I think in that respect of it being a comedy and an homage to buddy cop movies, I think and then also with all the difficulties, I think Kevin Smith actually put together a scrap together out of this pile of crud a good movie, right? And I think to me that Herculean effort, and Tracy Morgan's just hilarious to me. Tracy Morgan, to me cannot be funny. He just cannot be funny. And so
wow.
Way to polish that turd. I know. I know I was going to get hate for it, but I dug it. So
I honestly haven't seen it, so I can't really rag on you. It's one of those movies that has a reputation that it has a reputation for being a bad movie and for all the behind the scenes shenanigans. But maybe you're right. Maybe it's actually a good movie. It's just nobody else has seen it except you, apparently.
Right. No, it's funny, and it's got its funny moments. It's not a great one. Look, it's one of those, if it's a rainy day and you're laying on the couch and you've got you can't watch it free anywhere. I was gonna say and you've got Tubi as a joke. But no, it's one of those if it's a rainy day, it's got a bunch of B, C list actors in it, except for Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan. But it doesn't.
Well, to be fair, the end of Bruce Willis's career, he was pretty much a B actor. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he was phoning it in a lot, and so yeah, it's just again, I think Kevin Smith took a giant turd and was able to kind of pull something a decent a decent fun movie that if you are just laying on the couch on a weekend and you're just kind of lounging, it's a fun movie just to watch and enjoy and pass the time. Kind of like a Weekend at Bernie's type movie where it's this isn't a stellar movie, but it's fun. It's fun. You turn your brain off. And it's a great homage to me. I do think it's a good homage to body cop movies. So
fair enough. Maybe I'll give it a try. But Thrash, your turn.
Sorry.
I'm going to go with it. I'm
don't
surprised no one's brought
apologize.
this one
Stop
up.
apologizing.
Yet. Sorry.
Not you. No.
We did it again.
I'm averting my eyes, oh Lord. I'm surprised no one's brought this up yet. I'm going to go with 48 Hours with Nick Nolte and
Classic. Yeah.
he's in
Yeah.
and Eddie Murphy. Just
Eddie
an
Murphy.
amazing movie. Now, and again, one of them isn't a cop. He pretends to be a cop, but one of them is actually a convicted criminal on a furlough. But just Walter Hill, I love Walter Hill. The two of them together were absolutely amazing. That fight scene between the two of them, where they everything comes to a head and they like beat the snot out of each other, it's like one of the best choreographed fisticuffs of the day. Again, James Remar, another Walter Hill perennial, perfect villain. Absolutely loved him as the villain. And the scene, speaking of things that are as current today as they were at the time, the scene where Eddie Murphy borrows the badge so he can go into the honky tonk bar and rattle the cage of the hillbillies is like one of the funniest and yet tense scenes. Like, I just thought it was an absolutely amazing scene. Eddie Murphy, I think, was at his best when he did that scene. Never heard of him, huh? Never heard of him.
A Black Russian.
Yeah. I get it. I'm black. Yeah. Love that scene.
Tracy brings it up.
Hey,
Fair enough.
hey,
She
Brad,
mentioned
you
it
should
first.
do it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tracy. I didn't see that in the comments. Thank you, Tracy.
Hey,
okay.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the scene where Luther ran into the door of the car and said, "Did that hurt Luther?"
Looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think it hurt Luther. And that was a guy from the Warriors.
Who also plays Luther. He's
Right.
the leader of the Rogues in the Warriors. He plays Luther
Walter
in two
Hill.
movies.
That's awesome. I didn't make that connection.
Did anybody like the sequel?
I saw it once, and I remember I was kind of phoning in my viewing of it. I didn't like the premise, and therefore I watched it, but I was going through the motions. I didn't like the second one, I'm afraid.
I
did
didn't
look
mind
that
it. I thought it was
bus though.
okay. But like
Mm.
I haven't really watched it again, so it can't be that good, right?
I love
I
the
know I
bus
watched
stuff.
it. I don't remember it.
What, the bus flipped over 17 times?
Like I said, I think I saw it when it was still fairly contemporary, so I remember very little about it, I'm afraid.
So we are approaching the hour and a half mark. So let's just do a quick lightning round. Name a couple more movies. So I'm gonna go ahead and go first, and because Scott mentioned Bruce Willis, I have to bring up Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance, where
Samuel
he's
Jackson.
paired with Samuel L. Jackson. Their dynamic is fantastic. And again, Samuel L. Jackson's not a cop; he's just some guy who owns a shop in Harlem. But the way they play off each other is fantastic. Again, so Die Hard 3 is my choice. Lance, what do you got?
I had an old one called Number One with a Bullet.
Oh yeah, I haven't. God,
Robert
I haven't even
Carradine
thought of that
and
movie in a
Billy
long
Dee
time. Yeah. Okay, Scott.
What about 7? Would you count that?
Ooh, yes, 7 absolutely counts. You got that
What's in the box?
retiree.
Definitely.
Yeah, what's in the box?
Yeah.
No, I mean it's
What's
a
in the box?
deadly serious, harrowing,
Yeah.
visceral movie, but it is
Yeah,
still a
it's
buddy
a-
cop
yeah.
movie.
I
Absolutely.
was gonna say it's not. It doesn't have much of the comedy buddy part, but it is a pairing, a cop and all that stuff. So
Two
yeah, it doesn't
diametrically
have that.
opposed philosophically. Yeah, it
Right.
works.
Yeah.
Okay, Thrash.
Osmosis
Right.
Jones.
Ooh, wow,
Ooh.
off the wall choice. I love it. Good one.
The only animated one I think that was ever made.
Yeah, I don't think we've mentioned any other animated buddy cop movies. It's pretty fun. David Hyde Pierce. Oh man, I love him in that. Let's see. Do I have any on my list we haven't actually talked about? I mentioned it at the very beginning, but we never actually talked about it. Beverly Hills Cop. That counts.
You
Okay.
did mention it.
So Lance, give me another one.
Go ahead. I'll think of one.
Scott.
Scott.
Central
your turn.
Intelligence. Dwayne Johnson
Oh, that
and
one.
Kevin Hart.
Right,
like,
right.
That's a really funny one, and my favorite thing is like, he's a chubby guy, and it's like, hey, how did you get in such good shape? Oh, if you just spend 6 hours a day, like working out, and eating like virtually like nothing in a rigid, you could easily do this or whatever. And I was like, that I loved, like that to me is one of the best lines that I sit there and I want to like, to me, that you can take away from it with how people like think about these movie transformations and stuff like that. And so anyways, but it's a great movie. It's a funny movie. It's a really funny movie to me. Anyways.
I got
Okay.
one now.
Okay, go for it.
How about Little Weapon 1?
A Loaded Weapon 1. Yeah.
Oh,
The screwball comedy version. Yeah. Absolutely.
great one. Yes, great call.
Red
Trash.
Heat is another.
Well, of course, somebody
Red
had
Heat's
to bring up
another one.
Red Heat. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been mentioned in the comments like a million times. I think my mom even just mentioned it. Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, Red Heat, of course. Now, I've already gone on record saying Lethal Weapon is probably my favorite buddy cop movie, and the one that I always think of immediately. But I do want to end with probably my favorite buddy cop movie, the one that I love the most, and that's Tango and Cash. The last great action movie of the 80s. And I know that Lance just watched it last night.
Yep.
Kurt
Cool boy,
Russell,
big time.
Sylvester Stallone. Oh man, so good.
I got the
So
soap
good.
and go excited.
And I like how Sylvester Stallone is starts by making fun of himself. You know, Rambo was a pussy. You know, like I love their attitude with each other, and the prison breakout and the zip line. The whole movie is just fantastic. I love it.
I like that vehicle they had. The RV from hell.
Yeah.
Hey, Owen, I won't put a scratch on it.
And I also want to say hi to Wing It Productions. He's here. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry that you're coming in right at the end, but we're about to wrap it up here. So if there's any other ones that people want to say,
Hey, I got one.
Okay, go for it.
How about The Protector with Jackie Chan and Danny Aiello?
Oh yeah, actually, Martial Arts Film Freak mentioned that one. It's kind of like a precursor to Rush Hour. Yeah. I've seen it. It's been a while, but I liked it.
Would anyone consider Outland with Sean Connery?
Yeah, Outland counts. I mean, he is a Jupiter cop, and he has a partner. It's kind of like it's on the fringes, but yeah, sure, it counts.
So I would
How
bring
about
up. Oh, go ahead.
What was that, Lance?
The hit.
The hit.
With Kyle McLaughlin. Michael Norris.
Something
Oh,
about
The
Conor
Hidden.
McLaughlin. Oh,
The
the hidden.
Hidden.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm astonished I didn't think of that myself, actually.
That is a good one.
Counts. Definitely counts.
Seen that one. Okay.
Tango and Cash. I'm still gonna date your sister. Yeah.
So
Terry Hatcher.
Terry Hatcher. Right.
yeah.
So go ahead, Scott.
I love that club
Um,
scene. I love that club dance with the drums.
Yeah.
So one that I really love
Hey.
that I think really
Hey, cop, get your hand off my property.
one that I really love that I think that shows the difficulty of the police job is End of Watch.
Oh yeah. That is a good one.
That's a
That's a good
really
movie.
good one. Thrash, if you haven't seen it, it's
It's more recent, obviously.
yeah. Oh god, let me find the actors. Jake Gyllenhaal, and
Michael Pena.
Michael Pena. Thank
Michael
you.
Pena.
Anna Kendrick, America Ferrera, Frank Grillo. Like, yeah, it's got a lot of really good, and it's David Ayers directed it. It's a really good movie, and it's to me, I really like that one.
Okay,
And
I
I
do
also
have
s-
one. I have one more
go
off
ahead.
the wall choice, and that is
Okay.
Tombstone. Does that count as a buddy cop movie?
Well, yeah, because they're both Marshall.
Yeah.
And like, if you're talking about Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday,
Yeah. I mean, that's a
Like-
classic pairing, man.
that like a real life buddy cop. especially when they're with their history and everything, not just in Tombstone but throughout. Like, I would definitely go with that.
And as we all know,
How
Kurt
about the
Russell
Wild
is the
Wild West?
best Wyatt Earp.
I'm telling you, man, I watched it with my nephew, and he was like, "People like this one, like people like this movie." And I was like, "It's legendary," and we're watching it, and I'm like, "Oh, there's some parts that don't hold up. It's got some."
I'll be your
So,
Huckleberry.
yeah, he was not. Yeah. Oh, I know, right?
Val Kilmer as
one of
Doc
the best.
Holliday steals that entire movie. He's so
Absolutely.
I think it might be Val Kilmer's best performance.
Yeah.
I honestly
I-
do.
good. You might be right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he's had some good ones, but that's
He does,
probably the
but-
best.
I mean, maybe Jim Morrison. Maybe. I
Well, he
love
definitely
Jim
looks
Morrison.
the part.
Oh yeah.
God, Jim Morrison almost looks exactly like him. So.
Yeah. But no. I agree with like Doc Holliday. I will say he was the best Doc Holliday, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt. Like he definitely yeah. I can't even remember I can't even think of the name right now of the one that played in Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp.
You should have been here earlier, Mom. I talked about
Anyways.
Midnight Run.
Yeah.
At length.
What about
My
colors?
list was most of your greatest hits. I'm sure, like, if you made a list of your favorite buddy cop movies, it would look almost identical to mine.
What about the movie Colors?
Yeah, sure, that counts.
Yeah.
Jump,
Yeah.
jump
Yes.
in the ball.
Yeah. Great movie. Like I know like the critics didn't like it was kind of, hit or
Hey,
miss
guys.
with the critics, but I thought it was great.
How about the rookie? With Clint Eastwood and Johnny Sheen.
Oh yeah, Charlie Sheen. That's right. I forgot about that one. I haven't seen that in a long time either.
Forgot to mention that one. Yeah, great.
People are bringing
call,
up a
man.
lot of like old ones that I have not seen. Like that's really exciting to me. Like I haven't
Well,
seen it in a
all
long
the
time.
Dirty Harry movies.
Well, of course. I mean, the Dirty Harry movies. The other cop is always in the background. I mean, he always has a partner who's just exasperated by Dirty Harry and just winds up falling into the background or
And
getting
it's a red
shot.
shirt anyway, because
Yeah.
usually they're not live in the next one. Spoiler alert.
All of his partners basically should have just walked around with a red shirt.
Sure, yeah.
This is the person that's going to die.
Hey guys, how about TV series? The Wild Wild West.
Yeah, Wild Wild West
Yeah.
counts. Absolutely.
I do
Much
not count
better
the
than
movie,
the movie. No.
Oh my god, I
Because
hated
I don't
that
count
movie.
that movie for anything.
I hated that movie. I like with a red hot passion. I hated it almost as much as I hate I Am Legend. Yeah,
That's
I went
saying
there.
something, I know, man.
I went there.
You mean
Hey, Brad.
a giant mechanical spider doesn't make for an amazing movie?
Well, I wasn't even so much mad at the. I'm glad you brought that up because I wasn't even so much mad at the fact that they got West wrong. They got Miguelita Loveless wrong, and that really put a flame under my backside. I
Kenneth
mean, which is beyond what? But not,
Kenneth
not
Branagh.
but it's like. But
Yeah, that was the
exactly.
first. That was the first movie where I realized Kenneth Branagh can be in a bad movie.
Yeah.
And he's been in a few since, but that was my first exposure to Kenneth Branagh actually doing something bad.
Yeah.
But
It really
Miguelito Loveless
disappointed
is
me.
such an amazing character, and he didn't just play it differently. He got it outright wrong. They should have
Yeah.
just had a different villain, called it something else. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
exactly. Just give him a different name. Yeah.
saying? You know.
Uh,
there we go.
Hey, how about
Oh,
his
Andy
one?
brings
Cagney
up a good
and
point.
Lacey. Cagney
Cagney
Lacey.
and Lacey. Yeah, that counts.
Oh, nice call. You know
Well
what? Yeah,
played.
because you know what? I
Well,
didn't even look like I didn't even research female buddy cops, but you're right, man. Look at that like implied bias. You know,
And
being
Mom, what's
present.
that? What's that show you watch? Rossetti and Styles, I think. That's
Oh,
buddy cop,
Where's Zoe
right?
Niles?
Rossetti
Eddie
and
Hartman and
Stone.
Dr. Alejandro.
No one's gonna laugh at Rossetti and Stone.
No, I'm not
No
gonna.
Zoe
laugh
Niles.
at that. I actually have a Rosetta Stone on my wall. I can't see it from here.
Hey, Tug. It's
Yeah.
Roselia, it's Roselia Niles.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm waiting for my mom to say the same thing. So yeah, you're right. Let's see. I have to. What? What was that, Lance?
Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky
Oh
and
yeah,
Hutch.
yeah.
Rizzoli
You
and
know,
Isles, right?
Rizzoli and I.
Dragnet, Car 54, Where Are You? There's a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Adam 12.
Adam 12.
Adam 12. Right. Good one.
I Spy.
I don't know if you would. I don't know if you would count it because it's more of like an entire police force. But like, I always liked Hill Street Blues.
Hill Street Blues. I was actually thinking of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my
What?
favorite cop show of all time.
Really?
Hill Street Blues. I loved Hill Street Blues.
Cool.
SWAT.
SWAT.
was good. SWAT was good, yeah. Although the last season of Hill Street Blues really went off the rails. I don't know if Bochco decided he could do no wrong, so he started trying to do wrong. But the last season is just almost incoherent. I don't consider it canon. But apart from that,
How about
loved Hill
Batman?
Street.
Batman.
Okay, now we're pushing the envelope
Yeah, I
as
was
far
going to
as
say,
I
now we're
think
going
we
to
can.
outright superheroes.
Like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna, you know what? As a dork, I'm going to come in and challenge that one. Okay? Because I get where you're going with it because it is a pairing, and again, we've got 7 and all this different stuff. But and Batman absolutely is the great detective, right? And he has, you know, but I would put him in like, I don't consider Dirty Harry as a buddy cop because like the partner is always kind of secondary.
Keith
Right?
wants me to make my mom a moderator.
Nice.
A mama-rater.
Nice.
Moderator.
Mama-rater.
The mama-rater.
Oh, dude, she would come with the hammer then, because you don't. Just kidding. But no, I would try to, because to me,
Barney
Dirty
Miller.
Harry isn't a pairing, right?
Not really, no. I
Right?
agree.
It's an
Not really.
individual,
It's
and so
mostly
like,
about Dirty
and,
Harry.
and that's where I put
Says so on the
Batman. Batman is a groomer, and so no.
Wow. That shifted gears out of nowhere.
Right, and like.
You want to
I
see
love
paying
Batman.
attention.
I love Batman, but like
Rumor. I'll never watch it again.
when
I'll be able
people
to watch
like
it again
when
without thinking
people
about
talk about groomers like that like a billionaire going around collecting children, like we would be like Jeffrey Epstein much, and so
it.
like
I'll never be able to unsee that now. Thank you. Every
I
time
know,
watch Batman
right?
From now on, I'll never be able to unsee
I think
that.
I ruined it for me too, but like because it's still one of the best like comic books and series and everything. But like yeah. So that's where I'd come in. What about like the Shield? Anybody like I know it's not necessarily a buddy cop, but it's like a team. But like me, that's one of the
I never
most
saw it
underrated.
because it came out at the same time as 24, and I was watching 24, and I didn't really want to watch
Of
the Shield at
course.
the same time.
Of course, you watch 24. You
I love 24.
I'm surprised no one's brought up RoboCop.
RoboCop, that counts because of his partner, who's
yeah.
what's her name again? Crap, I can't remember.
It doesn't
her name.
matter.
Lewis.
But yeah,
Lewis.
it definitely has that buddy cop dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lewis
I'm
and
surprised
Murphy.
no
Yeah.
one brought it up.
Well, yeah.
How about Knight
Lewis.
Rider?
Oh yeah,
Knight
do you
Rider.
count Kit? Right, yeah.
Yeah, they were the car's the partner. All right, I'll buy that.
And I already mentioned Turner and Hooch, but what about K9?
Yeah. But wait, Lance, did you just say Knight
Oh,
Rider?
Top Dog.
Yeah, Knight Rider.
Yeah.
Michael
Oh,
and
great call. Yeah. Oh, because I heard Knight and I didn't hear what it was, and it made me think of Knight Rider, and I was like, wait, did he just say Knight Rider? Good call, Lance. That I would 100%.
18.
100%.
How about the 18?
18.
Yeah.
They're running away from the cops. They're not cops.
Yeah.
Well, they're sort of undercover cop because they go around and help people.
I see where you're going. I just.
I mean,
Okay,
you can make a case
maybe.
for
I mean, they are kind of, sort of on the side of justice, but like, yeah, it's iffy.
We've
Like,
sort of bent the rules so far, so I don't
I know. Like, because I brought up see no evil, hear no evil.
Look what you've done.
I know. Like, that's where I'm like, oh, because like
Everything is
H-
a buddy cop movie.
I know, like A Team actually pushes the envelope so far that I'm like, because again, it's one of those like you bring up Batman and I'm like, no, but like like, oh yeah,
You're
like
a buddy
that
cop
one,
movie. He's a buddy cop movie. We're all buddy cop movies.
like, but the A Team, I get where you're going with that, but like that one again does not feel like to me like a buddy cop. Like, I don't know why I can't define it necessarily, but yeah, Lance, you like that's a good.
I think you broke him.
Yeah, you did break me on that one because I'm
Hey,
again,
good.
like I said, I love those Venn diagrams, man.
Yeah, Lance.
Airwolf.
Well, you know, Godzilla and
Airwolf.
Anguillas team up.
They are protecting the
Yeah.
Earth. Yeah.
movies.
Yes,
And
Pacific
Van
Rim.
Halen.
They're all buddy
Hey,
cops,
Scott.
right?
Airwolf.
No, man,
Werewolf?
no, Captain Planet. Like,
Anyway, yeah, Airwolf
No,
is a
I
good
know, I know,
choice.
I
I
know.
like it.
Chips.
Chips.
Chip.
Chips, of course.
Oh, how
could
did we not think?
mention
How did I not think of? I'm sorry, I was just like looking stuff up because I was like, what am I missing? What am I missing? But yeah, chips. I totally forgot about chips.
I guess the chips were down.
I know, right?
So, okay, I
Right.
really gotta go. I need to take
Yeah,
a few
yeah,
more
yeah.
cold medicines before I do the podcast with Scott later.
So I've
Yeah.
had so much fun.
Hey,
This was
guys,
an absolute blast.
I did too.
Say again, Lance.
Hey, Tug. Dave's on at 2:30 today.
Oh, Dave's on at 2:30. Okay. Yeah, everybody go
Yeah.
check out Dave's channel if you haven't already. Is it a members only stream or? I mean, I'm a member now, so it
No,
doesn't
just
matter to me,
regular.
but just okay.
Wait,
Cool.
2:30. What time zone?
Tugs.
Thanks,
So
Tug.
It's
Central Time.
actually it's 3:30 East Coast time.
Say,
Oh,
I won't
is
be
it
able to
really?
make it because I got to.
Yeah, we're actually doing a stream at 2:30. We're doing our foreplay show.
Uh-oh.
But it's okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
Wow.
you can always check ours later.
Yeah.
Just give us a like and then move on.
So,
And you're right, Keith.
Thanks,
It
Doug.
was television. It was movies, not television. But
Yeah.
we talk about whatever we want to talk about. It's my stream. so
Hey, Thrash.
so good night, everybody. Or goodbye. Yeah, I'll see you tonight, Thrash. Of
oh yeah,
course.
7:30
I'll be there.
Eastern
Yep.
Coast time. Looking forward to seeing you all there.
All right, Thrash.
And yeah,
Bye,
until
guys.
next time. Peace.
Bye. Take care. See you.
Bye.